Sub-Zero. Rat needs a redesign. Invoking retribution upon my enemies when my party takes damage. On an ability. Wings giving your party crit. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy, now we're back to the power infusion situation.
We sure are.
Right? Oh, the whole thing of externals. And it's bizarre. Because I found it... Right, I'm playing Disc at the minute. I find it really satisfying whenever I PI the right person at the right time and I see their number go up humongous. To me, that's really satisfying team play. And I enjoy using my kit like that because whenever they help me and my friends kill the boss faster, I have less healing to do. So PIing them at the right time is like sensible for my job as a healer, where I'm there to support everyone.
That's the...
But then I go online and I find that everyone's furious about PI.
So, as Ian said in that interview, which was with... Was it PC? I can't remember who it was with. But he said that's the game. Like, that's the game they're making. They're making the game where you have PI and you go, when do I use this to maximum effect? And then you use it to maximum effect. Sometimes you're doing that yourself. Or usually, like, in a raid scenario, that'll be coordinated. And then everyone involved will go, yay, we did the thing. That was a cool tool we used. But the other game is, no, give it to me. My purse. I need my number big or I feel small. And then, that'll be the case of people arguing over, well, no, save your PI. Don't use it optimally for overall damage done in this fight or at the time. Use it for when I have all my cooldowns. And you're like, yeah, that's the problem of like,
oh, don't play
people
with
using
players
it
like that.
But that is literally like,
oh, don't play with people like that.
There's a bad part where you go, well, you have to be realistic as a game designer and work your game around how people are playing your game. But at the same time, it's like, you do have to make the game you want to make and then say, fucking play it my way, dickheads. To an extent, and not literally, because although it would be very funny if Ian said that on the stream. That'd be very funny. But no, I thought that idea of it is cool, it's fine. It's just people use it weird. And so much of that is like the whole big discussion of like, should Warcraft logs just go, fuck it, PI doesn't count towards your parse. That's all priest damage now. Like, okay, sweet, there you go. All the problems are largely gone. I think. Theoretically.
Yeah, because there's
discussion, but I think it'll work.
It's a problem that is literally not created by Blizzard's in-game like situation.
Yeah.
It's a problem that's created because people look at logs and meters, which is interesting, right?
Yep.
Like, do you think the FF14 team would make changes based off the intricacies in logs and meters?
I'm trying to think of any examples they did. Not really. There are some examples where they've changed things like that, but the only thing I can think of that is really when they swapped. That's how FF Logs does it, and obviously FF Logs and Warcraft Logs are the same team. It's just they do things differently. Oh, that was a good bit. I'll leave it at that. But I was saying, the only time they changed something like that recently enough is, well, I guess in a couple different formats, and this isn't necessarily log-based, it's just in the same category. So the 6.2 is going to change how crit and direct hit are calculated on abilities that have crit and direct hit guaranteed. Because the whole point was stuff like Battle Litany from a Dragoon that increases crit was useless or became proportionally weaker on Samurai when they turned their big hits into the Medaras into guaranteed crits. Because then, obviously, proportionally weaker. If it's a guaranteed crit, same with a lot of the warrior stuff during Inner Beast. And I was like, okay, well, we need to fix that by doing, and this is what I expect them to do, because it's the easy answer, which is the Chaos Bolt thing in World of Warcraft, where Chaos Bolt always crits. Oh no, is crit useless? No, it's just directly increased by your crit chance.
Yeah.
So crit chance will make your Chaos Bolt hit harder, not crit more, but hit harder. So they're doing the same way there. And the other change was in 6.1. They moved Ninja's raid buff from Trick Attack, which was their own like kind of personal thing. They had their own personal ability, Trick Attack, but that was the raid buff. So they sometimes had to use that suboptimally in order to...
another siren.
Living in a city fucking owns. I love it. Never any peace in your brain whatsoever. But yeah, they changed Trick Attack. So Trick Attack, you'd kind of sometimes use it inoptimally or suboptimally to line up with raid buff windows. So what they did was they went, fuck it. Trick Attack is now just ninja damage increase and then mug does what a lot of mug stuff does in other game, which is steal armor technically, and that became the 10% extra damage taken from everyone else ability. Sorry, 5%, 10%, 5%. I can't remember, but yeah. So it's like they did technically change it. They did technically change it for that, but they didn't actively do that. So I think that's the way to go for the WoW team. Is kind of like there is a line in the sand of this is our game, and this is the game you fucking weirdos are playing. We're gonna make our game.
I think they need to draw that in the sand. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's like for stuff like this. I mean, obviously, you could technically take that and say, well, doesn't that mean they shouldn't listen to our feedback? Like, fucking no. It is not a black and white situation. It is a very, very, very grey overall situation, and you kind of have to isolate every little bubble and go, well, in this case, they should just make things more fun, like with the dragon riding in the dungeon situation of, are more people having fun with this than people aren't having fun? If the answer is even close to yes, then fuck it, that's what we do. That's what we do, and that's what we stick to. Hopefully, at least.
Yeah, Homo Necrotic dropped a super sync. Can you guys talk about the seemingly contentious relationship between the Paladin dev and the players, if you know about it?
No
idea.
I don't know very much about that. I was seeing people talk about how there's just a little bit of kind of the know you're wrong idea behind it or something like that. I'm not sure specifics, so if you want to fucking fire me a link on Twitter or something, I'll look it up. But it was specifically because I noticed they talked a little bit, only very tiny changes and moving stuff around in this build on the tree. But I did notice they said they were going to add Divine Protection as an option for Shield of Vengeance, with I think a longer cooldown, but it's more to bring them in line with the more, hey, this is just a pure raid defensive, as opposed to the Shield of Vengeance or Shield of Vengeance thing where people are like, why do I have to be degen for max damage? And Divine Protection doesn't get rid of that if it's a choice, because max damage will be Shield of Vengeance and using it properly, which people consider degen. It's also fantasyful in a load of different situations. So that's the kind of thing of like, yeah. No, they'll see people saying, yeah, it was about their vision for Paladin not matching up with the player base, and then them not wanting to give speed spells. Oh yeah, that whole thing we talked about last week of.
Oh yeah,
the no Paladin is the slow plate wielder
with a pocket horse,
utility and a pocket horse. Are like, well, it's not supposed to be fast. And then we had the whole conversation about no, we'll fucking go fast. Paladin fast made the whole game shouldn't super stick to vision because it has to be, I guess, playable.
Yeah, it has to be fun first.
Yeah, it has to be fun and playable. Yeah. And everyone's like, well, it was really fun when we had Speed of Light. Can we get that back? Can we get Long Arm of the Law back, please? So that's just that whole idea of yeah.
Could be a bit of this too. Why is Blessing of Summer not called something cooler and more in line with Paladin?
Because it's literally because they are so unequipped to actually do all of this work for these classes.
Because what the response was, maybe this is some of what it is. The ability is relatively new to WoW as a whole. It does exist as a thing Paladin are familiar with. Changing its name for the sake of change likely causes more confusion than a slightly off-themed ability. Also, Shadowlands and its story doesn't stop existing after Dragonflight launches. I saw that going around everywhere on Twitter. Just be like, hey, haters, seethe. And I kind of thought, fair, I am seething a bit at this, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's a bit weird. I mean, having an overtly Night Fae themed thing on Paladin feels wrong to me.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's what I'm saying. This is like, there's some element of that. Maybe they came to that conclusion internally of, no, we want to keep this like clear for people that they're not losing their ability, but it's like, it is full on just, here's the bits from Shadowlands that worked, lifted wholesale. They're not going, hey, maybe this would make more sense. And I imagine they do want to feel, because it's like it's the up and down of, so do you pretend Shadowlands didn't exist? And then that means people feel like their experience there was ripped away from them? Maybe that's better because people as a whole didn't like Shadowlands, but is there maybe a case where they are just saying, no, we'll stick to our guns and say this happened? Which obviously, they did. This happened and you're going to have that follow with you, and we think that these themes and the idea of your character having all that stuff is kind of more, kind of works pretty well. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't think anyone would be too annoyed if you went, this is now a different named ability. And I guess just soft retcon Shadowlands from people's minds, like the Men in Black, didn't have anything.
Yeah.
But it's, that's the awkward thing where some of it to me also feels like the laziness, not the laziness, I shouldn't say laziness, that's not quite right, but the seeming laziness of why have you not changed anything?
Yeah, which ultimately is,
yeah.
Fuck, we have to ship this thing in 106 days, oh no!
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the mood over there right now.
Yeah, so like, can you just, I forgot the Night Fae rogue ability, that seemed to elicit some groans. Yeah, Sepsis and Echoing Reprimand and stuff are all their wholesale. For Paladins, Divine Toll is their wholesale. And like, Divine Toll was largely seen as enjoyable and cool, so we're like, also Divine Toll, Divine Paladin works.
Yeah.
Sepsis and Echoing Reprimand doesn't make any sense for a rogue to have thematically either, so it's kind of similar, but it's just,
yeah, because it's like Shadowlands in its story, okay, but a rogue can get blessing, or sorry, you can get Blessing of Summer without touching Shadowlands at all and never being in the Night Fae.
Well, that's always the problem, right?
That makes it all theme.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And I don't like it. I can't even think of any or many MMOs that like do this properly, but like power progression coming from a place that makes sense is so rare.
Yeah.
It's like FF did that for a long time with like Class Quest being like, hey, you got your new job ability, here's what you went through to do that. But then they very quickly were like, well, we can't give you a job quest for every fucking ability you get. Jesus Christ, that's insane. Kind of running down the job quest, doing role quests instead. So, you just get stronger for no apparent reason outside of kind of being stronger in a way. So it's like, that's a thing where you just kind of have to deal with.
Yeah.
None of your power progression feels like it's earned in a sense.
Obi-Wan super this and said, yeah, but Blizzard changed Covenant ability names for other classes, just not for Paladin.
Did
for
they?
instance, Condemn got changed.
Oh,
so that's
shit.
interesting. Also, they're pushing Caster Palady, or Palady what? They're pushing Caster Palady when it doesn't work the mastery. We talked about that last time. The Holy Mastery, I think, we both think maybe needs to be looked at a little bit more.
Yeah. They also haven't actually made Caster Holy Paladin physically function.
Oh.
Because they didn't change enough to actually make it work.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, you still Crusader Strike.
So is it
you
at
still,
most giving you a little bit of flavor in that direction?
So it's making that part of it slightly stronger, but the fundamental problem is that it's like, well, are you like codified in the build of playing your healer spec? Are you supposed to do damage? Is that a thing that Blizzard expect based on how we see tuning? Absolutely. Because if Dakar hadn't pumped out as much damage as he did when we were going through Sanctum, probably wouldn't have got through it very fast. Same with just healer damage in general and like a bunch of M+. Clearly that's how it actually works. But that's the problem with Holy Paladin where, hey, you can be a caster Paladin. You still have to stand in melee and do Crusader Strike and it takes all your mana in order for you to, do your job as damage. Sure. Give them a ranged damage equivalent of Crusader Strike or something along those lines of maybe even replace Crusader Strike with something. Even the idea, because like there's like is it the PvP talent that radiates damage based on like healing that you do? It's like even something like that, or just denounce with some sort of smite-ish component to it. Just anything. It isn't just, stand and swing your thing. But then the whole point is Holy Paladin is codified to use one-hander and a shield. What's the point of having a shield if you're no, I suppose Rasta Shaman use shield as well. Yeah, no, it's all just funny. It's all just that this definitely needs a full redesign because it's like they've had this really cool start with the redesigns in Legion, and then they've just kind of went like they've just had wobbly wheels every now and again. So they go like they veer off the path slightly, then they veer off the path too much and get to the end and go, where the fuck is the path we were on? Shit. Well, we can't really get back there now because we are shipping this in 3 months. So I guess we just go forward.
Yeah,
go forward into the forest continually, I suppose.
Yeah, time's the enemy of all this shit.